All right, and welcome to episode 119 of the Zenspath Entertainment Network Podcast. I'm your host, Jeremy Powers, and joining me this week, once again, we have all of us together. So, the picture of Chris will actually speak this time instead of just being an old image. Say hi, Chris.
Hi, Chris.
Rachel is here.
You walked into that one, Jeremy.
Oh, I knew
wow.
he was going to. I didn't even have to warn him. I was like, here's the softball, hit it. And he went right for it. He's a great comedy partner. Rachel.
I'm here with a dog.
Yes, and Steven.
Hi, Chris.
Oh, perfect. Man,
waving at me.
I think we've all had a week. It's been
God
crazy.
Listen, my week started out great and it just got weird. So
yeah, mine's been rough all week and just got better, and then now that's happening and I'm really sorry. So
listen, it is what it is. I found out, pay stuff at work. Got good news with that. My tax return was approved. All the good things.
We still gotta do our taxes.
Hey.
Well, we got the stuff for it. We just have to go do it. It's complicated enough where we're just like, we're gonna go pay and have it done. Be done with it.
It's better to do it now than in March, because then it becomes more difficult, and if you're going to get money back, it takes more time. So, but whatever.
Yeah, it goes back and forth. So let's go ahead and jump into what we've been doing then, so we can get into this, what is pretty much going to be a Nintendo mainly focused show. Let's be honest here.
And that is all fine. We love that.
Ready to go.
Yeah, we have Nintendo news that's lovingly sandwiched between two other smaller pieces of news. So perfect. So I'm going to go ahead and start off this week because I've had a hell of a week. I have been trapped in snow where I had to get brought out by a four-wheeler to then come back and get the vehicle out of the snow with a backhoe, to then have to hike a couple of miles in the snow to get to a spot for my work, back and forth a couple of miles. I even took pictures of the long run of footprints. You have to zoom way in to see where I was going. I'll send you guys later. It's pretty funny. To then arrive at the hotel after leaving Wyoming and going all the way to Texas at 12:50 in the morning to find a line going all the way outside the hotel that took so long I didn't get to the desk with a reservation until 2:30 in the morning. Then had to get up the next morning and leave by just after 6, drive 3 hours to do the other work, drive 3 hours back to get on the plane, and then finally get home last night.
I would have been dead.
He did a Grand Theft Auto mission.
God,
I would have been 1000% dead. I would have been like, I can't drive. Someone come get me from the airport. I need to nap right now.
Yeah, I was trying to nap where I could. I got to the point where, for the walking part, when I realized how far I was going to have to hike, because it was a mile, at least 1 to 2 miles to get to the site and then back on foot. Fresh snow everywhere. I was halfway going. I'm exhausted. I'm hungry. I'm thirsty, but I am so frustrated. I'm making this happen.
Did you experience the definition of uphill both ways in the snow?
Yes, actually I did. I now know how our forefathers got to school.
He did not do it barefoot.
Yeah, no.
No, thankfully my boots worked great. My feet were dry. They did their job.
They were made for walking. That's good.
I'm flabbergasted.
2 jokes in one run. Yes.
I'm flabbergasted at the hotel story because I know where you were, and I'm like, that makes 0 sense.
2 flights apparently got canceled, and a chunk of the people got sent there with vouchers. So this one lady, and I'm not mad at her, it was not her fault. Yeah. She was doing her damnedest to get through this stuff. And, she had people that were speaking 4 different languages, all because these were international flights that got canceled. So there's people from all over going all over. There's one really sweet family from Japan. Don't know what they were saying, but they were really nice. Stuff like that. And then you had people that weren't not really paying attention, knowing this line's taking so long, they would get up there, mess with the stuff, and then go grab snacks and have her ring them up. And we're like, wrong place, wrong time, guys. Let us get to our rooms. We're all exhausted. Oh man. But yeah, on a higher note, a better note, I did get some Titanfall 2 in while I was waiting on my last flight, I finally broke out my Legion Go and was playing that on there. I forgot how much I love that game. It plays so beautifully on that thing. Almost got me to miss when they changed my flight to another spot because I couldn't hear it. That would have sucked. And I'm like, I beat the level. Hey, where's my plane?
Mr. Powers, please board. Hold on.
I gotta get to BT. Hold on a minute. And the last thing though, Amanda got me, and we're gonna be watching this. I got a whole lot of Star Trek. This is one box set that she ordered me that contains all 7 seasons of The Next Generation on Blu-ray.
Nice.
All 3 seasons of Star Trek Picard on Blu-ray, and the 4 Star Trek Next Generation movies, which I now own like 3 sets of. But the other stuff is all new.
It's better to have more than not at all, given the state of digital media right now.
No kidding. I'm backed up for a while. The only thing, it's also got like a really cool, because it's all based, it's called the Picard Legacy Collection. So it's got this awesome little book in here that's like quotes and moments from different, Picard things over the literal decades, which is kind of cool. I've been flipping through, but I think they missed the mark on what this should have been. Like, I get the red and black. It's the command uniform. This is Picard's colors. But don't tell me that this perfectly almost square box should not have been a damn Borg's cube. Come on, it could have been a Borg cube. At least the black part on the bottom, like if you slip it up and have it be a Borg cube underneath, that would be hilarious.
Then it would be the Locutus collection.
Touche. Yeah. But then most of his stuff has been the Locutus stuff since that season. But either way, it was pretty good. But I'm having fun now. At least I managed to get back, and Amanda made me an awesome steak dinner last night because she's like, we're just trying to get you to calm down. Because I was so stressed, my watch would not stop alarming and saying like, dude, even at rest, your heart rate is like way up. Calm down. Which is a combination of being dehydrated, being 7,000 feet in the air, because that's how high the elevation is compared to where I usually am from at sea level, which that'll mess with your heart rate. Which that's when I had to do the hike and all the other stuff. Yeah, it's been fun. But on a better note, let's move on to one of you guys and see what you guys have been doing for fun. Rachel, what you been up to?
Well, I have some excitement stuff at work, but I can't talk about that here. So,
Oh, just tell us. I'm sure we won't tell anyone.
No, it'll not be fine. So, but did you know, busy week. So last Sunday, I went thrifting again with my mom. Ooh. We had gone to this, it was very rainy that day, like super, super rainy. We just kind of we're just go to our normal one, which is like a charity shop. And we got a few books there that had been there last week that I was like, okay, if they're still there, I'll get them this time, because I wasn't interested in reading them, but they were super cheap because they were on sale. And we have our favorite used bookstore now, a little ways away. And then we happened to go to this other thrift store that we had heard of. That was like this little hole in the wall, like hidden attic type thing. And they were doing this like everything must go closing sale. So everything in there was 75% off. So I walked myself over to their little book room, and they had a whole bunch of perfectly good, new condition Cassandra Clare paperback books.
Ooh.
I have all.
I know how Amanda is, and you're probably excited.
So I already have all these. May I mention? So I grabbed all the like stuff that I recognized, that I knew that I had either read or I knew was popular. Grabbed them all. They were 75% off. So I got them for like pennies, like nothing. That's essentially
a good deal.
So I put them all these things in bags, and my mother and I drove over to our favorite used bookstore, and I come in there and I have these 2 bags, and the lady behind the counter, same lady that we have been talking to every time we've gone, goes, "Ooh, my favorite book dealer. What goodies do you have for me today?" And I said, "Hold yourself together, ma'am." And I just pulled them all out, and she was like, I don't get very Southern very often. Sometimes it peeks out. My normal accent is not Southern at all, even though I grew up in the South. But some words sound very Southern. But so I opened up the bag, I put everything on the counter, and then she goes, "Okay, go peruse. I'll go through this and let you know what you have in credit." I had $75 in store credit after this, and I only spent 15 maybe total on all these books.
Oh boy.
So, and not even that, maybe even actually I think it was just $10 actually, because the however many books I got at the one that was closing was like $5, and the other one was like another like $5, but then I had $5 of store credit at that thrift store, so it equalized. It was great. It was awesome actually. And
so this is showing the benefit of physical media, everybody.
yes. So I'm all for what I call karmic thrifting, where you get stuff that somebody donated to some thrift store, whatever, sold to a thrift store, and it got them what they needed money wise to go do something, right?
Mm-hmm.
And then I bought them, and then I brought them to a local business, i.e. a used bookstore that needs the good, like, popular books to basically keep them running so they could get other specialty stuff for people that are looking for stuff, and then other than that, I saw Lisa Frankenstein in theaters on Monday.
Nice.
I recommend going to see it. It was so funny. It was delightful. I'm not going to spoil it, but there's a particular part that I laughed so hard I was crying. And I definitely am going to cosplay that woman. She's on my list. And then other than that, I've just been playing another Code Recollection. I'm on the chapter right after she meets her dad, and they're trying to get through the library. Like, I'm not very far into the game, but it's fun.
Nice. All right, Steven, I saw you were trying to get some attention.
I was just going to ask Rachel if, because I learned this term a few days ago. For my wife, it applies greatly. Rachel, are you a student of Sundoku? Sundoku is the phenomenon of acquiring reading materials but letting them pile up in one's home without reading them. The term is also used to refer to books ready for reading later when they are on a bookshelf.
I can't relate.
So you can say you're not hoarding books, you are a student of Sundoku.
Well, my TBR is pretty large. Ooh,
that doesn't happen.
I don't know what that was.
Those were dogs.
I'm going to go check that out, I guess, while you guys talk amongst yourselves.
We shall continue. So, Steven, what you been up to?
That was a dog. But as for me, democracy never sleeps. So, Helldivers 2 is like having Girl Scout cookies in your room, where you're just like, just one more before bed, just one more in the morning, maybe in between shifts, maybe before I eat lunch. Like, you just like, just another mission.
No one should be that obsessed with a video game.
Okay, we are going to have to play it tonight. I have not had a chance to play it since last week. I miss Liberty.
And now it's updated. Certain missions are easier.
Oh yeah, I guess I should update everything.
You get kicked if you just sit there.
Thank God.
I've stories for you.
Oh, that's good. Yeah.
I've been breezing through Mario vs. DK. I do greatly enjoy it. I demolished the Game Boy Advance one. I heard this one has 2 extra worlds, so I'm waiting to get to that, see how they are.
I need to pick up my copy still.
But it's a fun little romp, and I'm wondering how things will change if I do the 2-player co-op. We'll see. On an unfortunate note, I played the Contra Galuga demo, and so did Chris.
I have not heard good things, and I'm worried. I haven't played it yet.
Don't play it on the Switch right now.
No.
Because there is frame skips. It's not just frame dips. It's frame skips. You'll see your player go here, and then he's over here. It just skips.
You should never have basically lag on an offline game.
And if you die and then continue, the music goes away. So the music for Contra is gone. So I tried it on PS5, but I still wasn't like totally enthralled. It just looked like maybe this shouldn't be a full-fledged release, and maybe it should be $10, $15.
Contra's very hit or miss, I feel.
Speaking of $10 to $15, what is worth all 15 of my dollars is Pocket Jockey, which we'll cover later.
Wait. Okay, that's the horse thing, right?
Yes.
Horse and solitaire for the
that is one of the greatest games in existence that I loved and my wife loves. It's like, why would you play solitaire any other way? But
is it like fast-paced solitaire?
yes and no. Sometimes you're nicely playing it, but other times it's like, if you can do this quicker, we're going to give you a special ability, and we'll set your horse on fire so he's super fast. And
Okay.
Can you use
there's
touch
just so
controls
much
on the
you can
screen
do.
to play it?
Remember, this is Game Freak making a solitaire horse racing game, so they know to make it quirky and do all kinds of fun stuff with
Okay, so it's solitaire on drugs. Got you.
But can you play it with the Switch touchscreen?
Yes, but I
I'm
haven't tried it
sold.
with regular controls.
That's all I
I
care
haven't
about.
tried it with regular controls yet because the HD remake came out for Apple Arcade, and when I saw that, I was excited because I know just about 99% of Apple Arcade stuff comes to Switch. So come on, Sonic, eventually. But
Right.
but yeah, other than that, I was shocked to get an email last week saying that my order from 2021 had finally shipped. It is known as the Polymega system. It's kind of like the systems you know out there, but it's imagine each system being like a hat. So if I want to play N64 games, I put the hat on the system, and now I can connect my N64 controllers, play all the N64 games that I own. But as a bonus, whatever game I put into the cartridge slot, I have the option to install it and just not have to worry about it again. Like, it just plays from the system. So you get to basically put your own collection together and back up your own collection. You can install patches and all that.
Cue Jeremy Googling this right now. I can
Oh, I
see
know what
it
it
in
is.
his
I'm actually
eyes.
not interested in it, but that's for a
okay.
whole different thing. I'm not saying it's
Um,
bad. It's just not up my alley.
Okay.
And then each module you get comes with like their version of the controller, but it'll accept 8-bit DOE. It'll accept your regular controller, third party. So having it where I don't have to break out a system or hold the Steam Deck to play my Snatcher is really
Right.
good. If you put in a Saturn game that requires a RAM card, it's got virtual RAM card in there, so it just looks which one it needs and gives you that one. So that one runs fine.
Can you
I still have to
easily
look
change
about the
that? Because
input
some
lag.
games had different features depending on the RAM size. If you want to play it in certain modes.
Yeah, I haven't tried one that's that other because I have a lot of the Capcom fighting games that just wanted 4. So I used that because I tested on that. I put some of my really expensive games in there, so I don't have to ever open them. I can now put them away because I know I have this backup. But no, it even came with some games on there that either were made from a competition called NES Maker.
Oh, cool.
So that was pretty neat. So you could play those, and then it gave you a small spattering of TurboGrafx games. But I was interested in it because I know there's, I know the purists out there like their FPGA or whatever they call it, their frame meisters. I'm just like, basic emulation is fine. Nintendo does it on their systems.
Yeah, I'm not. I whenever I said that, I wasn't even intending to say anything in that regards until Rachel called me out. But
it just seemed like something that you would do with backing up your game collection. That's all.
It is something I was interested in looking at when it first came out. It's just given the collection of what I already have, it was kind of redundant. Like the systems I do have out, I do have connected, but the idea of what it does, I love that. Like I do like the fact. The only thing is I didn't like you had to order different covers basically or attachments, but for different systems. But once I think once you got the disc one, that covers all the CD ones, right? Like you can do Sega CD, Saturn.
That's the basic one. So it does PS1. Does it? Okay, it basically does every disc except for Dreamcast. It doesn't go that new. They call that new.
I'm about to say it won't do PS2 either, right?
Well, Dreamcast, PS2, they kind of put together
right.
of that generation of GameCube, Xbox, Dreamcast.
Yeah, I can't. Yeah, GameCube
physically
physically
before that, it
can't.
reads all those. So I was like, okay, it reads even Neo CDs sold.
So basically, 32-bit and older. Is what it's intended for.
You need an adapter if you want to do like Famicom games, but the fact that it let me do that or play the Redbook audio, if it has audio, it detects that.
Right.
Like I told Chris, I said I was a fan of this over the other ones because I know peak gaming, as some people would call it, would be the analog series, and I'm not saying don't get those, but for me, I didn't want a analog SG next to my analog NES, next to my analog SN.
Why do I feel like I'm getting called right now?
And then my analog turbo. So I was like, I don't have that room. I was like, my den is limited. I had to make some adjustments to get the system to fit. So the fact that I can just take off its hat, put a new one on, like changing a tire, and it's just like
how quick is that? I'm kind of curious.
It takes like 5 seconds. You press a button on the side, you pull it off, you put the other one on, and turn on the system, and you're good to go again.
Oh, cool. Like I said, I'm interested in it. It's just, for one, I knew it was, you ordered this in 2021. We had no idea how long it was going to be before it came out. It's been like 3 years. I have gotten a couple of the analogs since then. So I usually use that for a lot of those types of games and so forth. And then, of course, I also do a lot of the console mods myself. So I'm already kind of getting involved in that different way. But for what it is, I'm glad to hear that it's working out really well. Because I agree.
Yeah, it's exactly
emulation, if done right.
Exactly what I dreamed it would do. It's doing in spades. Like, it had more for me than I expected, which got me very happy. And then the other thing was that I have to order from them is they have light guns that work on all the TVs. But the best part about the light gun is it works with all the light gun games at once. So it works with the PS1 light gun games. It works with the
Saturn.
The Saturn ones, and I was just like, oh, my Virtual Cops, my Project Horned Owl. I was just like, okay,
damn it.
Jeremy's just like, well, you had my curiosity, but now you have my attention.
Like, I know the technology there, a lot of companies are making it, but they had one, and then they showed it off at a show playing Duck Hunt with it, and I was like, so from NES all the way up to Saturn and stuff, I would have a working light gun. So I was like, yeah. And they have a deal where if I can get 2. So I was like, yeah, I'll probably pick up 2.
Okay, yeah, I'm very curious about that. Like, I may still not get it, but I'm really intrigued by the technology being able to do that. Because
I think when I get
you
the
have to
guns,
change how
I'll have Chris and I play, and then I'll kind of show you a video of like, this is how it works. Because it'd be pretty neat.
Yeah, because they're not going in and changing the code. Like, you can make an NES game work on a modern TV, but you have to go in and change the code on how it reads the timing of it because of how TV screens work now. So I'm really curious of how they did in the back end. All right, now engineer brain's just like, what's going on?
Yeah, and since I ordered it, like, some people got theirs like back when they were sending them out in like a spattering amount, or I think Japan got them first as well. But since then, like, we got a newer version that only needed one update.
Oh, nice.
They streamlined some things that they wanted to switch around on it and improve the UI. So I was just like, I'm getting a fully finished model. And whether we love them or hate them, they partnered with Atari just to get these shipped out.
This is
why not?
This is nice for game preservation.
Agreed.
It's my favorite kind because it's one thing to, download it, but there's something else about saying like, this is my disc, so I know I'm getting the version that I've played because it's my copy.
And I'm not going to say anything different about that because that's no different than what I did for my Wii U, my Wii, my GameCube, my PlayStation 2, my Dreamcast. They all have my library backed up on them on particular ones, so I can play them without having to pull the physical copies out every time. I still have them, and I still have systems that play them. But like, if Jennifer wants to play something and I don't want to go dig out the games, or if it's something like really rare and expensive, I'll just do that. Like, she's wanting to mess around with 1,000 Year Door on my GameCube, and I'm like, yeah, let's play it on the modded GameCube instead of breaking out that disc because it's still expensive. I don't want to ruin it.
That's another thing it does. You can, when you start the game, it'll ask you, do you want to start it regularly, or do you want us to have like TV options? But my favorite, save states, and the save states work just like the NES Mini. It puts a screenshot down there where you were, and I was just like, that is so much better than having just save state enabled in the top of the screen in text. And I was like, okay, I like the UI here.
I would love to get like an actual good tech breakdown of like, because it's running emulation, there's going to be inherently some differences, nothing major, but it's always kind of intriguing to see, what does it do a little different? Because anytime, even if you're doing FPGAs, that's only a different type of emulation. You're emulating the hardware and it's running the code. So it's emulation either way. I don't care what people say. But yeah, no, I definitely, you need to get some good pictures of this. I'd love to see what the whole thing looks like. I'm very curious. So
I'll have to take
awesome.
the picture of the UI too, because all I did was send Chris a picture of Darkstalkers, and he approved.
Ooh, nice. All right, Chris, I haven't seen you in a while. What have you been up to?
Well, after resting from a bit of overdoing things, I finished Persona 3 Reload, and I restarted immediately. I'm in
Wait.
New Game Plus already.
Oh,
Wait,
hold on a
so
second.
wait, hold on a second. Hold on a second.
You go first, Rachel.
When you say did you finish which Persona 3 Reload did you finish? Did you finish your save or the other save that you were playing?
I finished my save
Okay.
because someone was busy diving into hell for the entire week. So I
Well, it
could
gave
not
you more
finish that.
It gave you
So-
more time to rest, I guess.
So, Chris,
Yes.
I meant to mention this earlier, and I was going to tell you about it because I got these right before the last show, and you weren't here. Jeremy got me some stuff. So, Soul Hacker 2,
Nice.
and then immediately thereafter, my own copy of Reloaded. So, I need to figure out which to start. I have the 3 remake on Switch he got me, and then now 3 Reloaded, and I'm like, well, crap, which one do I play?
Play Reload. It's
Okay.
it's got a lot more quality of life stuff that makes it way easier to play.
Mhm.
The new voices are great. The new music is great. I think it's a worthy successor and a good starting off point for a lot of people who haven't played the original. So yeah, go
Okay.
with that one.
Yeah,
Just don't ask him any questions, because he'll be like, "You're not there yet."
there's a particular character that I still dislike. I think you know who I'm talking about.
I might. There are a couple of characters whose social links are kind of but you know.
Well, it's and
Jesus.
one was voiced by a particular voice actor that is.
Oh no, they got a new person for that.
I know.
Yeah.
I know they got a new person for it.
Didn't even,
but
they didn't even allow him to voice anybody in this game.
Are
No,
we
they-
not allowed to even say the name of who we're talking about, or is this something you'll tell me later?
we'll tell you later.
Yeah.
Oh,
We
God,
don't wanna-
I want to know what the world they did now.
It's a whole thing.
It's a
We'll tell you
whole
later.
thing.
When it gets to the point Rachel won't even say the name, then you're just like, what did you do?
Listen, he gives me the ick.
Oh,
and-
okay.
Yeah.
Then may he not get any attention. So be
Yeah,
it.
He's
Yeah.
grade A ick. Yep.
Holy
Great
crap.
It's a whole thing, but yeah.
God dang
So
it.
yeah, definitely play that version. It's the best
Okay.
one. They've done a
Mhm.
lot with it. If you do it, play it. Let me know what you think. But
I'm
yeah,
still working
I've
through
already
5 as well. 5
You-
Royal.
You will get so more distracted, I think. I find myself more distracted by the music in this game
Mhm.
than I did in Persona 4 Golden and in Persona 5. And
Oh,
I was
wow.
very distracted by the I just literally I'm standing in the middle of the street in Persona 3 just listening to the music, and I'm like, this is a bop, let's go.
Hey, that's a good sign.
Yeah.
soundtracks are a wonderful thing.
Mhm.
Aside from that, I'm also playing the latest game by the previous developers of Sonic Mania. It's called Penny's Big Breakaway. It's very
Oh.
fun, very colorful, and has possibly some of the best graphics and animation I have seen on the
Yeah, it
Switch
looks
to
really,
date.
it runs really well on Switch. I was surprised.
I have questions then, because I have not had a chance to play this yet, but Jennifer is dying to try it, and I don't know what the gameplay's like.
The gameplay is a
Mhm.
little complex because
Okay.
you jump, you dash, and attack by doing yo-yo tricks. So
Oh.
even for a seasoned platformer guy like me,
You got a lot.
yeah, it takes a little finesse.
It
So
may be bright and colorful, but it has a difficulty level.
Well, I
it
was
is
gonna
a
ask-
lot like learning yo-yo tricks in real life.
Oh, wow.
It's fun. It's a little toy. It's made for kids, but if you want to be good
It's
at it,
popular in the
oh
60s.
boy.
Is the thing
The Smothers
I
Brothers.
will mention though, which would kind of until they either patch in accessibility
I was about to ask about
for
accessibility stuff.
kids,
Mhm.
is that there's these characters, these penguins, which would be the most annoying thing I think for the younger set. Only because when they appear, they all latch onto you. If too many latch onto you, you're arrested, and you have to like press all these buttons to get them all off you, and they're constantly
Ah.
hounding you like like flies to a carcass. They won't leave you alone. They're following you everywhere, and it's not until you get out of range that they leave you alone. So
It's
a lot
the
of times
Yoshi's Island
he,
effect,
he was
essentially.
getting caught because it
makes me think of the cops from Jet Set
was
Radio
just like
during some of the
they were
levels.
jumping on him. It's hilarious to watch. I loved it, but he kept like losing there in certain areas because
It would
him.
frustrate her for sure.
Or they'd break out of a wall when he was thinking he was safe. So
Mm.
it's basically Sonic Mania turning itself on its head, saying like, we're gonna get you with some crazy stuff to do now.
When
Okay,
I saw
that's
it
good
was
to know.
about yo-yos, my first thought was, do you remember that commercial that was like the yo-yo man? He just won't stop yo-yoing.
Yes.
Yeah,
That's basically what the main character is.
Oh,
So
the yo-yo. She's the yo-yo woman.
yes.
I think
Yeah.
they should. I think they should put out a demo eventually, just so people can play the basics.
That would be nice. Yeah. Then
It
she can
is
kind of get an idea if she can play
absolutely
it.
beautiful. I will say that.
That's
The
good.
music is fun. The game is definitely one of the most beautiful I've seen. It's pretty much an homage to 90s games and the 90s in general because
Ooh.
it's got that, everything is bright pastel, hypercolor, what millennials thought people lived in the 80s kind of thing.
Some people call it like an HD Saturn game too.
Yeah, that kind of thing. But yeah, it's great.
Okay.
It just it's probably one of the first games I'm probably gonna see about tweaking the difficulty just a bit. But aside from that, I also played Ultros, which I've mentioned before. It's this weird psychedelic space Metroidvania kind of thing where everything is just very how to call it? It's basically H.R. Geiger if it was in a one of those blacklight posters, that kind of thing. And
trippy game, lots of hidden dicks. Got it.
pretty much, yes.
So it's Woodstock
other parts.
H.R. Geiger.
Oh God.
It's got a very weird Lovecraftian story and just feels it's got the most alien feel I've felt from a video game. And I don't mean just like the movie, I mean just not of this earth. And I think that's to the game's advantage. It's very fun. You actually get style points on how you defeat enemies because once you defeat enemies, that's how you get your food. So if you beat the crap out of something, you get not a prime shank of scuttler or whatever, you get a bloody pulp, and you better enjoy chewing on that.
Okay.
Wow.
That is I'm gonna have to look into that one. That's weird.
It is on Steam and there is a demo, so
Okay.
and that's pretty much it.
Nice. All right, so let's jump into some news. So first off, this week, before we get into our massive Nintendo news, the top part of our Nintendo sandwich, Disney has made a very interesting deal with Sony for Sony to now be the sole producer of all their physical media in regards to releases for movies. So Sony will market, sell, and distribute all new releases, and most importantly, their past catalog releases on various physical media forms. Disney will still run the digital and streaming stuff, so they'll be the ones controlling Disney Plus and things like that. But what I want to know is how is this going to affect like the back library from like Fox that Disney now runs and the other studios that they've purchased like for other movies. Go ahead, Rachel.
So they're just offloading is what they're doing. It's probably cheaper for them to do this, to contract it out to Sony, who is probably the biggest physical media producer, like with DVDs, Blu-rays, like all that kind of stuff. I could tell, like I'd say 90% of what we buy is put out by Sony. So it's probably cheaper for them to do this, and it gives them more opportunity to focus in other areas. So I'd say that's probably large part of why they have done what they have done here. So it's money saving tactics and letting other people worry about it, which Sony is very good at this. So,
well, the concern is also that Sony's going to be the one also making the choices of which media gets out, of how they're doing that.
Maybe not. Depends. They might.
It's part of it, but Disney also said they're going to be looking at restructuring. So all the people they had that were doing the physical media may be laid off as well. So that's kind of sucks.
It's sad for them.
Can release physical versions of Morbius and Madam Web. I think we're okay.
Yeah, that's fine.
Oh God.
But I will point out, if they haven't already announced it, the clock is ticking for Disney Movie Club. So if you have points, you might want to use those to get those hard to get movies before they just say, we don't need this anymore. Sony owns it.
Yeah.
Yeah, good point.
That is a good point.
It seems like kind of a weird move. Like all right. So it's not weird business wise, but it's almost like, so Disney's working with Sony about producing the physical media. It's almost like when people hear like, oh, Nintendo's working with Sony about making the Zelda movie. You're like, I get it. It just feels weird.
You know what was weirder is at their like big financial summary when they're like, we're really looking forward to Legend of Zelda. We're excited.
Yeah,
I was like, funny. I was like, kid me would have exploded.
Well, I think, like I said, I think part of it is it's money saving. They don't have to worry about it. This also opens up. Sony kind of has a different idea of what things should get physical release and what shouldn't. And also, this also grants the opportunity for a lot of their back catalog of stuff that maybe never came out on DVD. It was only on VHS, might get a DVD release.
If they did that, that would be great.
Or a collection.
My worry is the other direction. If they try to, make this deal and make as much money from it, if they restrict what they're putting out, to kind of define it where they're getting a certain amount. Like, I don't know. That's my only worry.
I'm just going to tell you from experience with the mouse.
Feel free.
The most restrictive person in this whole situation is the mouse.
Oh yeah, I remember. What was the what did they call it? Like, you'd get a movie, it'd come out of the vault, the Disney vault. Like, get the Little Mermaid now before it goes back into the vault.
The Disney vault forever.
Yeah, so they literally just they will sometimes just drop a film out on limited release DVD to see how it. And you can notice this. They are putting it out again to see how it does. And then like 6-7 months, maybe a year or so later, there'll be something going on with that particular IP again.
I think it's a good thing overall.
I think overall too, yeah.
Sony, whether you love them or hate them, when it comes to games, movies, or otherwise, I think they do large prints of these things so they're not as hard to get.
Yes.
Because Disney, as you may have recently heard, lost the rights to 28 Days Later. So now that movie is out of print and not on streaming anywhere because Disney lost the rights to distribute it. Now it's like
it dogmaed itself, except they don't have Kevin to put it on YouTube.
Yeah, so you can't have a dogma situation.
Dogma themselves.
So 28 days later.
Oh, I know.
That's stuck with another asshole.
Yeah. But I'm just saying that the principle's still the same. It's like, when you lose the rights to something and it's not in production anymore,
you quietly leak it.
But then, as a turn of events, like I just told you, Disney lost it. What happened this year? Sony acquired the rights to 28 Days Later. So, what do you think's going to happen?
There you go. Like I said, it might just be just the idea of it feels weird. I mean, I agree. This could be a good thing. They may actually put more movies out, and I hope for that because physical media, as we're finding so many chances now, are just becoming more necessary for longevity. Like this Star Trek collection, I was so happy to get it because, the Blu-rays have got the enhanced version of Next Generation, which, they're available on streaming, but like Paramount Plus lost most of the streaming. Like it keeps going back and forth. You can't even watch all Star Trek on their own platform now. So you never know where that's going to go. They lost one of their shows that ended up going to Netflix. Like
there's also there's also
it.
a couple of shows out there that are on simultaneously on two different streaming services. Netflix and the colorful bird, if y'all know what I'm
Peacock.
saying. Yeah, that one.
Yeah. Go ahead, Steven.
And not to mention streaming or otherwise, I know we've brought up before, but the huge lobotomy they gave Supernatural. I haven't even watched it yet, and all I see is people complaining of how much stuff was removed. And
I wonder how much I missed.
To make it worse, the audio lobotomy of like Scrubs because of all that licensed music.
Oh, yeah.
So
right.
physical media is important for these things.
Yes. So Supernatural is a big one, and the music is very, 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 very important to that show.
Yeah, in both.
Because a lot of it is based around, Dean loves his classic rock.
I'm about to say, boy, they love to play Wayward Son.
Yeah, God, remind me to tell you the story about how they got Ramblin' Man that particular song that is literally Dean's theme song,
Mhm.
why it played in the last episode of the Winchesters, because a certain actor sacrificed his whole pay for that episode that he was in order to get that song played, and he was perfectly fine with it. Dedicated.
Wow.
Mentally ill.
All right.
Love him. But yeah, no, it was very important to, like, there's a lot of, and I have to explain this to people too. If you want to watch a show, get started on it on a streaming service. And if you really find yourself liking it after the first, like, maybe season, go ahead and purchase the box set if it's already all out, if you can find it. Because I guarantee you there's going to be scenes that are different. There's going to be songs that are different. There's going to be whole things that are different. It doesn't affect the plot whatsoever, but it can kind of change the tone of the episode too. And it's got to feel like something's missing. I mean, a really good editor, you won't know. But like, there was a few episodes, I think in like season 3, that it was very obvious that I was like, ugh, the framing on that feels weird. And I was watching it on Netflix.
We'll have to go back and talk about that at some point, because I've only ever watched it on Netflix. So I'm wondering, what have I missed? Like, what? Maybe that's why things were weird.
If I had my disc drive, I would do a watch party of the first episode with you. I would, but I do not.
We should. And this is kind of a peek behind the scenes for everybody. I've talked to Rachel about this, but I was working on an idea for some other extra quarters we can do, and I haven't talked to Chris or Steve about this yet. But I wanted to go back to old shows that we like and watch the first episode and kind of talk about, you know, what do we think about that first episode? Would we continue watching it with that? If it's a series we like, how did the characters and themes maybe change later on? And some of the other stuff. And I asked Rachel about maybe doing Supernatural, because if I did ask anyone else, she would never speak to me again. But I got the idea because since I'm going to be watching The Next Generation again with, you know, Amanda wants to watch it, Jennifer is really interested. It got me thinking about that first episode of how that is going to kind of carry over again. So I don't know, could be kind of a fun way to look at that. So if there's anything you guys have in particular, maybe we can do that. All right, so let's move on to the big chunk of the news, the meat of this Nintendo sandwich. All right, so the Nintendo Direct Partner Showcase on February 21st. No one had high expectations, but holy crap, I think they came with the hits. I thought this was a really, really good Direct. Yeah, I wasn't interested in everything, but no one should ever expect to be. But frack, I got surprised by a few things I did not see coming. I had to be quiet. I was watching this while eating breakfast in a hotel, ironically.
Yes!
Yeah, I was like trying to keep my voice down. I was like,
"Are you okay, sir? Would you like a towel?"
I'm pretty sure I was at work when this was happening, so I didn't like watch anything having to do with it until I got home.
Yeah, we saw your gradual stuff on Discord.
Yeah.
I would see that when I could. I kind of couldn't talk much. But so this one was a little bit different because it was not a live stream. They just dropped the whole thing. So of course people were running to the end trying to spoil stuff and everything. But started off with, and I'm just going to go through the order. If there's any particular ones you want to stop and talk about, feel free. Otherwise, we'll just go through.
Mm-hmm.
But Grounded from Microsoft Studios is coming to the Switch April 16th. I don't know why Steven is giving that a thumbs down.
Yeah, it's running at 540p.
Oh, who cares? Like, kids are going to love it. It's cross-play compatible.
It's going to feel like we're playing Honey, I Shrunk the Kids. So,
it's already such a fun game.
That game is like Lord of the Flies. I don't know if kids will like it.
But it's got full crossplay and includes the Playgrounds mode, which is like creative, so that's fun.
I have friends who play it almost weekly.
Mm-hmm.
So this will just make it more accessible for me because I'm not as often on my PC unless I'm like doing work or podcast stuff or streaming. And very occasionally do I turn on to play a very specific game unless I'm in a very specific mood for something. So this is just going to make it more accessible for me to play, which is good.
And I'm going to kind of go outside the Direct a little bit on some of these announcements. Grounded is also coming to the PlayStation 4 and PlayStation 5, I believe.
Yay! Even more accessible.
Right. So we had talked about this before, and we'll cover more of the Xbox stuff because the games that that they had were announced. So I guess I'm just kind of combining the last two bits of stuff, just like an actual burger. All the meat's kind of just congealing into the bun. Yeah, you're getting hungry. Chris is like, I want food now. There's garlic chips. Go have some. Steve will love it. So I'm glad that Grounded's coming out to other systems. That's more people to play this game, and you guys might actually play it with me, which would be great. So next up, we had Ender Magnolia Bloom in the Mist coming in 2024. Oh, by the way, it's April 6th for Grounded. I don't know if I said that. I'm not too familiar with the Ender Magnolia. It looks interesting, but I don't know if it's the type of game I'm really going to be playing. Does catch anyone's eye, or is it just kind of like, hey, we have an announcement?
I don't know what this is. I never even
Fair
heard
enough.
of the game previously, so who knows?
After that, we had a Ranger, a role puzzling adventure coming summer 2024. This looked kind of fun, very Zelda-ish, but everything's like a slide puzzle as you move, and that's how everything moves around you while you're sliding around. Visually, it was creative, I thought. So
puts me in mind of Adventures of Lolo, but kind of backwards.
Yeah, no, I can see that. Okay. I'm probably going to check it out when it comes out. I hope this is another one I think would benefit from a demo to really show like how it plays or what kind of mechanics it is.
I think almost all games would benefit from a demo, but I'd never expect to ever get demos for everything.
Alan Wonderworld didn't.
Yeah.
Wouldn't that have been nice? But it makes me think that was intentional. That they.
I miss the days. I remember on the 360, it was required for every game to have a demo, and I think people complained because they were like, "You're not buying our bad games because they know it's bad now." So they had to make it rare.
Alan Wonderworld.
Society's weird.
I bought Balan Wonderworld on sale just to be like, it was so many jokes. I was like, screw it, I'm just gonna get it. Unicorn Overlord coming March 8th. There's a demo out now you can play.
I hate that title. It's just so
it's just Unicorn Overlord.
Better than Triangle Strategy.
God,
or Various Day Life.
It's like we went from project Triangle Strategy to just drop the project and keep it. I was like, you guys need to name things.
And these are all tactics games. What is it with tactics games and these weird two-title just...
Sometimes I think they just kind of roll a dice with a bunch of like random names on it and then put it together and go, yeah, that rolls off the tongue. Okay.
There's no Fire Emblem and Fire Emblem.
Yeah,
Fire Emblem sounds fine.
They need to just have a tactics game. It's just the tactics game : you know what you're getting into, and just have that be the name.
Or oh no, not another tactics game.
Oh, yeah. Oops, all tactics.
Oops, all tactics.
Oh man, you can make a tactical game where how your play actually makes names. It's all confusing.
I just typed 2 words into a random word generator. Here's our next RPG. Acceptable Zany. Wait for that one on the Switch.
Yeah, this is how we defeat the AI menace. We just feed it tactical game names, and it can't understand what's going on and breaks.
It can't understand anything.
It's like the paradox rule. So this next one was one of the first of a couple Nintendo 3DS ports that we got, which I'm actually glad to see that. Like the 3DSs, came to an end. We're losing the online. There's a lot of great games that would do good to kind of fill in the space on the Switch for now. But Monster Hunter Stories coming summer 2024, fully voiced with HD graphics, because this was ported to some other, like I think the Apple Store or whatever for a while. It's added
not on there anymore, I don't think.
Oh no, yeah, they love to take that stuff off there.
Yeah.
The museum is being added with art and music, so you can go through and listen and check out everything, which is great. No word on if the amiibos will work. I'm very curious about that.
The only amiibo not released in the US.
They had some for the second game, but I didn't. This is one of the only sets I don't have because I just could not afford to get the Japanese ones. They were
back then when they were affordable because they didn't think anybody would buy those amiibos.
Mm-hmm.
I used to carry them at a store I worked at. I managed. But I made sure to buy the cat, the little feline, because you could put him in Animal Crossing New Leaf and he'd be his Monster Hunter looking self. And I was like, that's amazing. So I only bought him from Monster Hunter Stories 1. I didn't buy the male or the female. And I'm like, I should have.
Yeah, I bought the set from 2 that came out. That was released in America.
So I am right now looking over at my bookshelf where I have my boxes for my 3DS games. There's no games in them because they're all in my carrying case because I, put them out and play them and all that kind of stuff.
Right.
And I have a case for Monster Hunter Stories, but I don't have the game anymore. I don't know where the game went. It's in the wind. It's gone. So I literally, and it's impossible to find a copy.
Nice.
Of this, by the way. Impossible to find a copy of Monster Hunter Stories.
What does the base look like? Steven?
What?
What does the base look like? Like normally they have a pattern on the top?
Oh.
It looked like it was like ice.
It's silver and like the...
Oh, it's the logo. Okay. I wasn't sure. I was like, what is that?
Yeah. So,
nice.
I don't have the game anymore. So I have been just casually mentioning it on and off to friends, especially when the second one came out. I was like, man, I really love to replay the first one.
Did you will this into existence,
Rachel?
I
did. I'm pretty sure I did. I tweeted about it a few times and I talked to a few friends of mine that are out there in the industry. And I was like, they should really do this. And I just think I asked enough that they were like, let's just give it to her. Just for Rachel.
Just shut her up.
Just a treat. So
nice. Speaking of remakes that kind of surprised everybody, next up we had Disney Epic Mickey Rebrushed coming in 2024.
So pumped for this.
It's kind of funny, like people liked it, but it also didn't review the best. It was kind of middling. But Steven, go ahead.
What Rachel liked to hear that I found out is they actually asked Warren Spector to come back.
Oh,
and he's like, would you want to make any changes, improvements? And he went in and he did everything he wanted to do. Now it's more powerful hardware. So he's like, stay tuned.
Yeah.
Nice.
So
I'm wondering what he did.
So I got my story with this game is when I first got my Wii, I got this game with it. And I don't have it anymore, but I had the paintbrush.
I still have it. I was about to mention that.
Yeah, so I had the paintbrush.
Nunchuck paintbrush.
I think when I sold my actual Wii, I kept the game because I knew I was getting a Wii U, but when I sold the Wii, because I had I found my GameCube and all that and got it repaired, I had a friend who I sold my Wii to, and I sold them that controller, and they had already gotten that game for their kid because they knew that they were gonna like it. So that's where that controller ended up, and I'm perfectly fine with not having it.
I'd say at least it went to a kid that probably appreciated it.
Yeah, but I mean the game is I'm a big, I'm a parks goer. I go to the parks all the time. I grew up with Disney, so me with the the darker side of it. I read Kingdom Keepers as they were coming out, so the darker side of it with Oswald the Rabbit, that always fascinated me. So me playing this when it came out, I was like, oh, this is cool as hell. Oh, this is so cool. And it's not an easy game. One of the bosses I kept getting stuck at because I didn't have enough thinner and enough ink to get past it. And the save spot, this is also a game break. It can break your game. If you get to this
that's
point,
what they fixed.
yeah, and I could not go past this because I didn't have enough ink and I didn't have enough thinner, and I couldn't reach a point in the boss to get more ink and more thinner where it would shoot some out of him to essentially replenish you. I could not get to that point, so I was stuck. So now I'll finally finish the game, and I'm hoping it does well enough for them to port the second one, which wasn't reviewed as well, but it was a good little co-op game.
I think it could deserve a second chance.
The reason this is called a remake, even in the trailer, is because they even stated a few times that one of the complaints was that Mickey didn't have enough moves, so he's got more moves now.
Oh, that's nice.
So that's good.
Nice. Well, sometime 2024 we'll be getting that one.
I imagine summer-ish.
This next one confused my son greatly, and he has got complaints. He's just super weird about it. Shin Megami Tensei 5 Vengeance, coming June 21st of 2024. So it's not a remake, but it's like a port where you have a different decision that leads to a different end. Your save doesn't transfer over, but you get to play bonuses, and you have 3 demons you can carry over from it. That's the best Jeremy could explain it to me. Steven, go ahead.
The best thing I can say is because it convinced even the other SMT fan here, Chris, is there's a video they put out called the Spotlight to the game, where they basically talked about all the different things that they were changing, I guess, without getting too spoilery. But it's one of those, like, we changed so much that your save would be incompatible. Like, we did enough changes, routes, decisions.
That makes sense.
Improvements that now, as in all the SMT games, according to Christian, that they keep doing, there's always a better version that comes out later with improvements.
Go ahead, Chris.
Yeah, if this is essentially something that we as Atlas fans love and despise, because this is what Japanese fans knew as soon as we got Nocturne. It was essentially what Persona 5 Royal was to us. So Nocturne, what that we got, was already the patched version, as it were. So we're thinking, oh, hey, Atlas could do no wrong. And then Persona 5 comes out. This is amazing. And then Persona 5 Royal comes out. We're like, this is the same thing with extra steps. I have to buy the first game again. Little did we know that was Atlas's plan the whole time. So now they're doing it again. And I'm going to buy it.
Listen. If it ain't broke, don't fix it. Also,
but it is broke.
Also,
so am I.
I mean,
if it ain't broke, resell it.
I mean, no. If their method isn't broken because people are continuing to buy it, continue to do that same thing is what I'm saying.
That's because we're suckers.
Yes, you are. I just have Persona 5. I don't have Royal. I just have Persona.
We're not going to game shame you. You're into what you're into, man.
Yeah.
Which the problem is, as Steve has mentioned, the real problem is these games are worth it. You know, if it wasn't worth it, we wouldn't keep falling for it. But
so have your son watch the spotlight video, because it fills in a lot of blanks and a lot of questions that Chris had. That he's like, okay, I'll buy it.
Oh, I'd love to hear Chris and Jeremy just go off and do their own little episode about Shin Megami Tensei and all that stuff, because I think the two of you it would be hilarious to hear.
I don't doubt it.
I've been trying to get him to try some podcasting. Maybe that'll be something to get him into it.
We wouldn't know anything that was going on. We just
that's why I'm like, I ain't gonna be there. I'll just show him how to run it and walk off.
Oh my god!
I'd be sitting here with a notepad, like, really?
Like, I'm taking notes, but I'm not retaining anything.
They do that in public?
I've come up with questions for him before, and he's just like, I don't know. I'm like, oh crap.
I worry every time I ask him, because Jeremy, I love him to death. He gets excited. I'm just like, what have I done? Because I'm going to sit here and listen to an explanation now. But he's passionate about it, and I'm fine with that. I love it, actually. It's great. So let him have his fun. It's not hurting anybody. So speaking of passion, I'm so happy. Star Wars Battlefront Classic Collection coming March 14th. This is the one that almost made me yell out in the middle of eating breakfast in the bottom of a hotel. I played so much Star Wars Battlefront 1 and 2 on the PlayStation 2, on the original Xbox. Backwards compatible, we still play it. We had LAN parties at the house. Like, these were our games. And they're coming again for PlayStation, for Xbox, for the Switch. 64 players online. New characters and new maps are added, including ones that were console specific, because the Xbox had like Kit Fisto and some of the other characters that were only on that one that are now available on all of them. There's a hero assault mode, so you can go straight to having the main characters and, just run around. As you don't have to be stormtroopers or the droid army and things like that. I'm going to play the living hell out of this. I'm warning you now. Steven, go ahead.
They also announced if you have them purchased on your Xbox account or Steam, the originals, you get 20% off the new collection.
Ooh. So, I want to get the physical collection for at least one of them. But I do have them digitally on the other stuff too.
If FOMO appears, know that if you're getting it on Xbox or Steam, you're going to get a discount if you've played the originals on there.
I have them all on those two. I will definitely be taking advantage of that for Steam. Because I have a feeling these are going to run absolutely great on the Steam Deck. I know they'll run good on the Legion, but my Steam Deck is just really convenient for playing that stuff. And I kind of want to get it on the Switch because it just feels right. I don't know why, but
I have the rest of the Star Wars games on Switch, so it's like
right. Yeah, I have those too.
I personally would not be playing these because they're just not my jam. But I
Fair
will
enough.
be
hectic for sure.
I will be excited for everybody else that is playing.
That game makes Helldivers look like an art gallery.
Yeah.
Yeah, Rachel. I will definitely be excited for everybody. It's okay. I have that covered.
Yeah.
So yeah, oh god, I cannot believe the only thing that could have made this better, and I was kind of wondering, like, oh my god, are they going to announce they're finally going to release the finished third one? Because it leaked. We've got to see it and play it. Like, it ran and worked. I would love if they turned around and actually released that thing, because you could go from space battles, you could hop in a ship on one of the crafts, go into a space battle, go down to a planet, land, and continue on foot all at once. And this was back during like Xbox and all that stuff.
If it's a Spire again, I don't think they want the same thing that happened to the KOTOR 2 DLC.
Oh no.
No kidding.
We're gonna bring back something that's lost. No, we're not.
Yeah, I figured it would be like a separate game release, but I'm still really happy to at least see this, because I did not ever expect that to come back, because they have the other Battlefronts that EA pushes, and those have gotten better. Like, they were rough when they came out. They're a lot of fun, but they never, like, they were super gorgeous to look at, but they were never as fun to me. Something just always felt more manufactured instead of being just like enjoying the world of Star Wars and playing in it. It was a shooter that was very nicely wrapped in it, So I'm way more excited for this than I was for those. All right, thank you for letting me have my little freak out there. I'll see you guys online. Next up, we had South Park Snow Day coming March 26th. So we'll know about this one pretty quick. It's up to 4 players online, which, if you're going to have a South Park game, you better have 4 players. Kind of a RPG-ish. It's like continuing some of their previous games for a lot of that. So if you played the previous South Park RPGs, they're really funny. They're very crude. Holy crap, do not let kids near these, even though every 13-year-old is going to be wanting it. But it'll probably be fun to play. They have actually gotten pretty good with their games. After that, we had Sword Art Online Fractured Daydream coming 2024 with a 20-player online co-op mode. That's a lot for an RPG. I guess it's kind of like a
thing.
Yeah. We're getting a lot of massive multiplayer today. This isn't even the last one we're going to talk about. So, anybody here a Sword Art Online fan? I've never really messed with them.
I've tried to watch the show several times. Right,
it is a show.
Yeah, I tried to watch the show several times. It's very convoluted. There's a lot going on with it. I think it's even more complicated than Naruto, which that's saying something. It's very hard to keep track of. I can keep better track of One Piece than I can Sword Art Online, especially with like the games, because in One Piece you don't have to. I mean, there's games, but there's not as many as there's so many Sword Art.
Complicated as Blaze Blue.
Oh Jesus!
About no, just it's close. It's getting there. If they
Chris
release
is
like
very hard to disagree with that.
If they release maybe like 5 more games, I think we'll be getting close to as complicated. So there's just so many. There's so many games. I remember when there was a Vita game that was Sword Art Online. That is like in my memory that there was a Vita game of it. So.
Which is more confusing, Sword Art Online or Kingdom Hearts?
They're confusing for different reasons. So, but I'm not confused by Kingdom Hearts. I just love Kingdom Hearts.
Fair enough. All right. Next little fun surprise, Gundam Breaker 4 coming 2024. I wasn't like super excited about it, but it was kind of neat that you could build different Gundams and mess around with it and then play with it.
The Gundams could be bigger. Like, they don't feel as big as they should. That is the one thing I will say about that.
The appeal here, though, is the fact that they even talked it up with the Gunpla.
Yeah, I love that their announcer, it's known as Gunpla.
Unlike that story of that kid that went in and destroyed $30,000 worth of Gundam figures. This one you can pose them, photo mode, put them in a diorama, so it's like you can pretend you still have your collection again, which is nice.
Just because of the photo mode, I'm curious if this is going to come out on like Series X or PS5, because then you get really detailed for the models, which would make for better photos. But
it is. This was announced for everything under the sun. Yeah,
that makes sense. It looks fun. My favorite Gundam games have been like the Dynasty Warriors Gundams, where you can just run around, you're breaking a bunch of stuff, which was great. And then, does anyone else remember the PlayStation 1 fighting game?
No.
Yeah, Mobile Assault.
Yes. Surprisingly, I had a lot of fun with that one. I liked it.
I have both of those, even though I don't like the material. Okay.
Hey, respect. The next little surprise, Super Monkey Ball Banana Rumble, coming June 25th as a Switch exclusive. So this is not going anywhere else like the last ones did. 200 new stages. So this is all new content. And then they included a 16-player online mode.
Fall Guys mode.
Yeah, you have race mode, banana hunt, robot smash, and they said there's going to be more to be announced. But I mean, we'll have to see how that goes. A lot of people are hoping that because this is a new one, instead of them trying to port it, that they fix the controls. Because I guess compared to the original like GameCube releases and stuff, people were having issues with the controls on the newer ones. They just kind of lost that feel of how they worked. So here's hoping they fixed it. Once again, a demo would be nice, I guess, to see what's going on.
Most people were convinced when they saw the 16-player mode, though. So
yeah,
I saw.
They were like, I don't even care if it doesn't control that well. I want to race with my friends.
Which is funny. I was listening to a couple other shows just to see what was going on while I was traveling, and they were just complaining about this. They're like, "Oh, I don't want any of that in this game. It ruins the idea of it." And I'm like, did you guys not remember the old multiplayer modes? Those things were stupid and fun.
Or Super Monkey Ball Adventure, which made it like a RPG almost.
Right? I don't know. I think it's going to be ridiculous fun. And it seems like even one day, if those online, I'm hoping they have local multiplayer modes. I don't want to lose those. Those are always great for like Monkey Ball and, for 1 and 2, especially 2, I think had some of the best ones. My favorite was when you'd roll down the big hill and launch, you'd open up the ball they're in and try and glide to a certain spot. That was always a good challenge as a party game.
I will put in a plug there, though.
Mm-hmm.
My favorite website, Video Games Plus. If you pre-order the game from them, they'll give you the previous game for free.
Oh, wow. I don't know if I got
So if you need those party games just to have from the previous one, they'll throw it in for free. And I was like, sweet.
I think I held off buying the last one because I kept hearing about the control issue, and I was like,
I got it because I wanted to play as Kiryu in a ball. So,
all right, fair enough.
That's fair.
After that, we had World of Goo 2 coming May 23rd. This is going to be basically Switch and PC exclusive, but the Switch will be the only one on consoles, and it's the only one that has a 4-player local multiplayer mode, which looks like you're kind of just using the pointer to
chaotic mode.
Yeah, that's going to be, you better be really good friends with these people because you are going to fight.
Overcooked with goo. That doesn't come out right.
I think, Rachel, I think you mentioned before you're a big fan of the World of Goo games as much as I am. I think it was you that talked about the first one as well.
No, I don't think so.
Well, damn it, I look like an idiot now.
Is the first one on Switch?
Huh?
Is the first one on Switch?
I thought it was on Wii. Is it?
Okay. It came out on the Wii originally. I have it on that. Amanda played the hell out of it. She loved that game. And then they had, I think it was through Super Rare Games, I believe they did a limited release of it physically. And I got that on Switch for Amanda to play. It's digitally, you can get it as well.
Okay, now I remember because that one came with a little piece of goo.
Yeah, a little goo ball.
That had a bad chemical in it that will create mold and will ruin your game case and game cartridge. So you guys, so there was a PSA to take it out of the game case and put it somewhere else. It leaves like a grease stain on it permanently.
Oh,
so they're like,
well, here's my copy of World of Goo from.
So like, I remember a PSA like,
hey,
they're like, take that thing out. There you go.
More like World of Grease.
Because somebody was like, take it out. There's something in it that interact or reacts to it. And I was like, oh,
I don't know if mine ever came with that. I don't have it in here.
Then you're blessed. It's okay.
as long as it still works. Amanda loves this
Secretly
game.
blessed.
It's one of the few digital ones she has on her Switch because I bought it on there too.
I made your fire alarm go off. You're like,
just immediately just like abandon the show. Check your game case.
Like, oh no,
it's goo.
Oh man. All right, so next we had Fantasy Life I, The Girl Who Steals Time, coming October 10th. This is a game I'll be buying twice because Jennifer absolutely loved the last one on 3DS and she wants to play this with me so badly. So I enjoyed it as well. So I'm going to end up buying it twice so I can play with her.
It's going to steal your time.
That's fine. I don't mind.
She'll be the girl who steals time now.
She's got the point now. She wants to add a shelf in her room because she wants to start her own game collection. So of course I'm working on that now. It's part of why I bought her that little Toadette today, the figure, because she wanted to add it to her stuff. So why not? But it still looks like the 3DS game, and I think that's fine. It's kind of keeping to the art style that I really liked from the last one.
Don't reinvent the wheel.
Cartoon style. Yeah. It's keeping that visual style, which is great for me. Any of you guys ever play the Fantasy Life games?
I have 2 copies of the 3DS game. I did play it once with the wife
Nice.
because I sold her on the fact that I was like, if you're the carpenter or the cook and you need certain materials, I'll be the warrior that follows you into a cave and destroys the monsters for you. And she's like, that sounds awesome. So it's just having that cooperative element is what made it for me over stuff like Rune Factory or Animal Crossing. And I was like, gotta have co-op.
Yeah, I figured I'm just going to over level myself doing stuff. And then that way, whatever Jennifer decides she wants to do, I can play whatever role is best to help her out and run around. So why not? So anyone else getting this one?
Probably not full price, but
yeah, fair enough.
A demo would be great.
This is one that even without a demo, I'm going to get just because we enjoyed the last one so much. It's kind of like, all right, you've earned my trust. I will take that chance and get this immediately. So this next one was unique. Another Crab's Treasure coming April 25th. It's a Souls-like about a hermit crab who is having to get different types of shells to try and fight and get his back. But I love the style of it. It's so weird looking in a good way.
It feels like you're paying back the mob from what I saw in the trailer. And I'm just like, and I'm immediately reminded of Tales of Exilia 2, where that is the main point of the game, is paying back your loan from the mob. So I'm like, oh, he's trying to get his shell back to some loan shark that has his shell that he sold his shell to for some reason that we don't know. So I'm like,
an actual loan shark. That joke is
overplayed.
I think it is actually.
Oh,
it is.
God, that joke
it's a shark toy that says like, if you get me this, I'll get you what you need.
Yeah,
I didn't even make that connection. Holy crap!
And now the little shark puppet thing, because that's what it literally looks like.
Yep.
Now I just keep remembering someone here is possessed by an owl. Who? Well, we would know because unrelated. But
I watched a lot of reactions to the Direct. And this was my favorite one because they all like first sunk in their chair thinking, oh, it's another kid's game like that I can't play. And then they said the magic words like Souls-like. And they're like, what?
I never understood
I
that.
I want to try this now.
Just because a game is kids-like,
I don't want it to be Souls-like.
Well, because at first glance, you're thinking it might be like an offshoot of, I don't know, like SpongeBob's Breakaway Castle. So it's just another platformer. And they're like, it's the same formula. This is basically like changing the the roadmap, saying like, what if we make like a cartoony Souls-like? And people are like, okay,
I'm gonna give it a shot. It caught my eye. Like I thought it was kind of funny looking, and I don't know, could be fun. Next we had Penny's Big Breakaway, which obviously we know is available now, as Chris was already talking about this. After that we had Suika Game Multiplayer Mode Expansion Pack, also available now.
This game is bigger than you think, and be wary of anybody you get to play it, because the original game is only $2, but if you buy the whole bundle, it's $6. but you will hear the same kindergarten theme looping, and you'll wonder if you're going in, slowly going insane. It's addicting though, because you're just like, you start like bobbing your head and whistling, and you're like, why? Because he was playing.
What is wrong with me?
We were playing he was playing Persona, and that's all we heard. And I was like, what is that music? And he's like, I don't know. And then we went upstairs, and it was Suika game. I was like, oh.
Well, the expansion pack is a 2-player battle mode being added with these new modes, as well as an online multiplayer coming later. So that's not too bad. I was wondering how much it was, but I guess $6 for the whole game and the DLC. That's, I don't know if it's a fun puzzle game.
And there's also a web version, and there's a mobile version, so you can get this game everywhere.
Oh, so it is bigger than I thought it was.
Yes.
Next, we had Pepper Grinder coming March 28th. There is a demo available now, which I do want to try, because this seemed like kind of a fun platformer.
This was at the Steam Next Fest as well, and this is the one I described as a Celeste meets Drill Dozer. So
okay, I remember you talking about that.
When everything goes right in the game and you're seamlessly drilling, it feels so good. It's a good feeling.
The other game we're aware of and already talked about is Pocket Card Jockey Ride On, available now.
Game of the
show. Once again, I hope we see more of like the 3DS and DS era games being remade and coming back. It's a good way to do those.
That was one of the only games, and I'm sorry to say to everybody else, this was one of the only games that I was sad when the 3DS was like, goodbye. I was like, can you just give me Pocket Jockey on something else?
Other than an iPhone? Because then that'll go away probably. Then they had, of course, every time they have their short announcements, was a quick trailer. Snufkin, Melody of Moominville Valley. I can't even talk today.
Listen, the Moomins are very cute. That's all I know.
Oh, okay. Well, that's coming out March 17th, so we'll find out what that's about. Tales of Kenzera Zhao.
Unrelated
at the Game Awards.
Unrelated to the Tales series.
Yes.
If you remember the guy who came out on stage at the Game Awards and started crying about the game he made, it's this one.
It's this one, yeah.
He put his heart and soul and heritage into it.
Nice. Demon Slayer Kimetsu no Yaiba. Sweep the Board coming April 26th.
It's Mario Party for anime.
Figured. Kingdom Come Deliverance Royal Edition coming March 15th.
Why?
This is another Arc survived. It's like, that's not going to run well. That's going to run like you dipped it in mud.
I don't know.
And it kind of does look like it's dipped in mud in the trailer. And I was like,
Speaking of mud,
Contra Operation Galuga, March 12th with a demo now, which I've not heard the best, sadly. And then Pentiment, which at this point is available now. I ordered my copy for Series X yesterday when I made a order at Limited Run Games because they had it coming out. I still want to play this one. I love how it's kind of a medieval murder mystery with people with no education trying to figure out what's going on. Apparently there's so many different ways you can play this, depending on like how your reactions and how you deal with other people, that it's not a super long game, but it's very replayable because you can just make weird, dumb decisions. So we shall see. And then the surprise announcement, this is kind of the monkey paw version of, we wanted Rare Replay, so we're going to kind of get part of Rare Replay. We're getting Rare games on Nintendo Switch Online, which are available now. And the 5 games they dropped were Snake Rattle and Roll for the NES, RC Pro-Am for the NES. That is a banger, people. I love that game. Battletoads and Battle Maniacs, way more playable than the NES title. At least more reasonably not as difficult. Killer Instinct, which I've already been playing today just so I could finally keep rewinding after finishing a match to finally see what their versions of fatalities are.
And now all versions, except for Game Boy, but are available on modern consoles.
Yeah, no one cares for the Game Boy when I have that one, and it's right that it's not there. And then lastly, the other one I've been having a blast with, pun intended, is Blast Core on the Nintendo 64. And this is the one that's going to make me break my N64 controller back out. because it just doesn't feel right unless I'm using an actual N64 controller. But I'm glad to at least see it there. People were immediately wondering, well, where's Donkey Kong 64? Why can't we get that one? It's not on Rare Replay and we don't have it here. But at least we've got some coming out. Go ahead, Steven.
I just want to preface that your next announcement carries a extra quarter amount of explanation.
Yes, we will probably have to go into this one. I'm planning on playing it on a US patched version that a friend of mine recommended. I'm trying to order a cartridge.
I want to preface with something. This is Nintendo's darkest game they've ever made. So make sure you are having a great day when you play this game.
It's probably a good warning for me because I've heard a little bit about what the stuff covers.
If you've had a horrible day and everything's gone wrong and you play this game, it is not going to go well because I've seen reactions all over the place for people, spoiler free, of course, but they're like, make sure you go in as happy as a clown.
My favorite series of video games of all time involves the apocalypse, the end of humanity, and hell literally on Earth. And I could not finish Mother 3.
My favorite show is that.
I haven't even... So, Japan Nintendo Switch Online got, as Chris has said, Mother 3, which is the sequel to Earthbound that we had in the US, which of course was Mother 2 over there. This game people have been fighting for and begging for it to come to the US, and Nintendo has not been able to for a long time for a number of different reasons. People kind of theorized. The best one I heard about when I was listening to some people talking about this, because they went into actual detail going like, there is the issue with the music is basically the Beatles for a lot of it. And it's not so much of a fact of, well, why can't they just change the music out? It's also because the entire combat system is rhythmically based around that music. So any changes to that music fundamentally also has to change how the entire battle system is done, which is not just a simple swap out. And once I realized that, I was like, oh, that makes way more sense. There's bits of the story, stuff like that could be changed probably to make it a little more modern take, because I guess there's some things that are questionable.
Problematic, yeah.
Yeah. That could be changed, but I honestly do believe the music and the way it connects to the battle system makes sense of being a really big, like they would need to do a full remake, like of the level of like Mario RPG, but actually even further because they'd have to change that system with it.
And maybe they are. Maybe we don't know. We have no idea.
Yeah, we have no clue.
We don't know. If it were a simple reason as to why they couldn't, like if it was simple, they just slap a disclaimer on the front. So clearly it's not simple. But if it was,
I like that they did that with the recent Tomb Raider trilogy, where they actually had a thing. Hey, there are things shown that are not really proper anymore. This is how it was. Enjoy. Go ahead, Chris.
I will say that this is possibly the only game that Nintendo has allowed not only emulation, but a fan translation for. Normally, they are litigious as all get out, and they're just saying, you know what? There it is. We're going to look over here, and we're not going to, just, it's over there. Just get it. We're not looking.
Once they start raising a stink about that thing, that's when we can start to kind of make some assumptions of something's going on with it. Yeah. But until that, speaking of Japan only releases, I want to kind of interrupt this before we get to the last announcement. So there was a game that was shown in the Japanese version of this, and it's called Renatus. It's coming out for the Switch, the PS5, the PS4, and it's only, as far as we know, coming out in Japan. Okay. And after I watched the trailer, I went, "Oh, well, God, this looks really good. What's the whole point?" My first thought was, what in the Final Fantasy Versus 13? What in the Verum Rex is that? Because that's what it looks like to me. So it's by Ryu and Natsume. So if you guys know anything about Natsume, you know that developer?
Mm-hmm.
Natsume
Natsume.
Atari? Natsume? Yep. They are there's a lot of really good RPGs that they did that are just now starting to get released on things like Steam, and they've been out for years. And
Right.
it takes them years also to localize it. And I don't know that there's a rhyme or reason for it, but this game actually looks very good. It's written by Kazushige Nojima and composed by Yoko Shimomura herself. So you know it's gonna be good. It's set in Shibuya. It looks good. If you have not watched the trailer yet, I do recommend it. It comes out digitally and physically in Japan on July 25th, on Switch, PS5, PS4.
Mm-hmm.
And there is, of course, a Liberators limited edition, which they don't really say what's included, but it's a juvenile action RPG, whatever juvenile means, in this particular case, that is set in a realistic Shibuya, Tokyo, where two protagonists in different positions fight for the world they desire. So I'm just sitting here like, they're putting out Kingdom Hearts 3 before Square Enix puts out Kingdom Hearts, or no, they're putting out Kingdom Hearts 4 before Square Enix puts out Kingdom Hearts 4. That's what they're doing. So it's
Here's hoping NIS America has like a little teaser at the end of their June showcase, as they usually do. Like,
so
hey, well, guess what we got?
Yeah, so maybe we will. They are known for eventually bringing stuff to the States, but it takes them a while.
Yeah.
A while.
The last direct, and people are saying just imported at this point, got the trailer for that successor to the Goemon series,
Mm-hmm.
and everybody's been saying it's absolutely fantastic, and you should just import it. So it's getting to that point where I'm like about to break, because I was just like, but so many people are praising it.
Right. It's like, how much English does this require? Like, can I play it without understanding anything?
So maybe, like I said, Natsume has a bit more, it's a pretty good track record for getting the really good stuff over here eventually, but who knows?
Maybe we'll see it on Switch too.
Oh boy. And then here comes our last announcement, which I'm very excited for.
Yes, I am super happy about this one as well. I'm knocking things over on accident.
It's a ghost. Woo!
Why is everything falling over? I didn't touch anything. What the hell?
It's a ghost. Woo!
Yeah. So Endless Ocean Luminous is coming May 2nd. I will have this day and date because I absolutely love this series on the Wii. Over 500 sea creatures, real, prehistoric, and mythical ones included, which is awesome. And then what got me is up to 30-player online co-op. That is so many people diving around with a legitimate reason why they can't have voice chat. Because you got a breather in your mouth. Steven, go ahead.
That's what I was going to say. I was like, how do we talk to the 29 other people? Because if it's just eep, op, orc, that's not going to swing. Like, I need to be able to be like, go over here and look at this.
You know, maybe hold on. What would be perfect? Finally use that damn IR sensor at the bottom to do actual scuba diving hand signals. All right.
So they're gonna backwards compatibility with WeSpeak.
So maybe they do have that built in, because I think if I remember correctly, in the one of the originals, you could wave, you could do that kind of thing. So maybe it's a registered button thing where you hold down a button and then press another one to go this way, or this way, I'm sorry, or this way, or up, or whatever. So maybe there's hand gestures involved. Right. I mean,
have you ever played the Resident Evil Outbreak series?
No.
I wanted to, but I missed out on it.
That game was almost impossible to play without proper voice chat, because all you did was said, I need an item, I need healing this way, and I feel like shit. Yeah. Those were your commands you could say. And I was just like, this is so hard to play co-op.
So, I mean, worst case, technology is great, and we could just get into Discord voice chat while playing together.
Oh, so that's
not a big deal. But yeah, I'm excited for it. My first thought was when I saw it, I was like, oh crap, call the Game Grumps. They're going to want to play the hell out of this.
Yeah, and they're still not going to look up the instructions.
No, when did they ever look up the instructions? Never. You can't expect them to.
Is this still Eureka?
That I don't know.
Nintendo's publishing it, but I think it is still them making it.
It's literally these games are like the chillest games, but they're fun.
Like, do you have the prequel to Endless Ocean on the PS2 that Eureka made, where all you do is look at fish?
No. What is it?
Hold on.
Yeah, let's see. Time out, people. Steven's gonna go get something Jeremy's really interested in. It's almost funnier to see him go off that way and then run back across the back of the couch.
It's over here. No, wait,
it's over here.
Wait a dang minute.
So while we're waiting for this, if you're listening to this and wondering what the hell are we talking about, go look us up over at YouTube and watch the video version there.
Found it.
He found it.
It was published by Capcom.
Oh.
What?
Everblue 2. So was there an Everblue 1?
Yeah, but only in Japan.
I've never heard of this.
Learn to deep sea dive, develop your diving skills, observe and interact with marine life, find hidden treasures in the Caribbean. That sounds familiar.
Crap.
So,
I'm going to have to find this one now. I'm sure it's probably... I wonder how expensive that is.
Very.
I'm terrified to find out. I've got both the Endless Oceans, at least. Those are great. I still love playing those. So, but in general, I'm going to go around the room to kind of ask you guys, how would you grade this Nintendo Partner Direct? Just give it a letter grade. I guess we'll just do that. Rachel, I'll start with you.
I'm giving it an A. There was a lot of things. Like, I mean, we got Endless Ocean. I got Epic Mickey. 10 out of 10.
Okay. Chris, what about you?
I'd give it a B+.
Okay.
We did get a lot of wonderful things, but as Nintendo is wont to do, they went, hey, you know this thing you absolutely love? We're not giving it to you. Here's this instead.
Yeah, they're even giving Japan Mother 3 merch, and they're giving them icons, which we're getting, but what are we going to get in week 3 when it's supposed to be Mother 3?
I don't know. They didn't get Blast Core, so we kind of got something. Steven, what about you?
I will reluctantly give it a C because I'm grading on a curve because I know they're going to have another one towards the second half of the year. Fingers crossed, but I think they will, to kind of just fill in the rest of the year. Because this was up until a certain month.
Yeah,
so
I think October was the...
That means like you're giving us something towards late April, May now. So I was like, you're going to give us the rest of the year.
Yeah, I think October was like the latest listed date that they had, other than like just 2024 ones.
The rumor right now is April's supposed to be an indie direct.
Okay.
May is supposed to be another direct, and then June is the reveal. So we'll see if that comes to fruition. I hope so.
Okay. I'm gonna have to side with Rachel on this one. I think this was an A. Like, there was so many great surprises. Like, yeah, we didn't get Mother 3, but I'm glad that we got like the rare games that came over. Dear God, I'm getting more Star Wars Battlefront. That might actually be the whole reason I'm doing this.
I just think there were so many good surprises. Like, I did not expect another Endless Ocean game. I really didn't. No, like,
I had it kind of spoiled as a rumor, but
like, I didn't even know there was a rumor. Like, it was like literally out of nowhere for me. So was Epic Mickey. I was just like, okay, good. Well, there you go. There's some more games for me to play and enjoy that I know I will play and enjoy portably. I can't talk today.
Indubitably.
I'm tired, guys. It's settling in.
You've had a day. Yeah.
It is really starting to settle in.
Well, we're almost there. So let's jump in then to our last story. If I can get the right one. I almost hit the wrong button. So Microsoft. We're all tired.
Right this way.
Microsoft has finally clarified the 4 games that were going to other systems. It was not all doom and gloom like some people were going off about, and I think a lot of this kind of makes sense what is going where. So Pentiment, Steven's favorite game, is coming to PS4, PS5, and Switch February 22nd. The Xbox, the Series X, PS5, and Switch are getting physical releases from limited run games, which I ended up getting the one for Xbox. It just felt right, but I'm glad that it's going to be available for all of those. Hi-Fi Rush is coming to PlayStation 5 on March 19th, with Xbox and PS5 getting physical releases again from limited run games. They're not yet available because, damn it, I looked. But I'm glad they are getting complete editions for both. There was a rumor that's popped up about, because there was evidence of a Switch version, but was not announced. So people are wondering if it'll be like a Switch 2 launch game, which that's going to be the excuse for everything. That's the only reason I threw it in there. It's kind of funny. Any game's like, well, it could be on Switch 2.
Switch 2.
No yeah. Grounded is coming to PS4, PS5, and Switch on April 16th. Once again, with all crossplay, which is great because that's a game that could use more players. Why not? Doesn't hurt. And then lastly, the one that Rachel champions above all else, Sea of Thieves is coming to PlayStation 5 on April 30th with full crossplay support between the versions. Go ahead, Steven.
Where did they confirm crossplay? Because I couldn't find it anywhere.
I'm pretty sure it was in an email.
I got that email and they didn't talk anything about crossplay. They just said, "Welcome to the 7 Seas." They didn't say anything about Xbox. They didn't say anything about
the
crossplay.
Sea of Thieves team and Xbox themselves talked about it online that all of these games will have full cross compatibility between every version. They would not put it on another system
press release because that would be a no-brainer. But
I think they had it included. Because they said this was to expand the people that are playing. They weren't going to separate anybody off.
Yeah.
So,
if there is full crossplay, that means that I should be able to somehow link my my account, Xbox Live, essentially account that I use to play.
That's the hope because people weren't sure about cross progression.
Yes, you can. You would. You can sign in and use your Xbox account to bring your stuff over, and then you can still get achievements on PlayStation as well.
Yeah. So it's just going to be very interesting. Cause I have a lot of really cool stuff on my PC version of Sea of Thieves. And I would love to be able to play that same person and carry over and all of that. And I'd be able to do both. Cause sometimes I really don't want to turn on my desktop. Even though it's literally right beneath my PS5, but
so one of the things I like, is because Xbox and PlayStation both have brought Discord into the system so easily now, that pretty much answers how everyone will be able to communicate. If everyone uses Discord, you kind of get a universal setup for it, which I think, speaking of the Switch 2 rumors, that might be the one thing I kind of hope Nintendo supports over anything else. If they can support Discord on that thing, I don't care if they even have an official voice chat. If they will support that, that will make it so much easier to talk with people while playing games.
They won't have to,
especially since it's on the other two systems right now.
Exactly.
Yeah. And they won't have to program it themselves. They just have to account for.
Yeah, Nintendo, don't make me use a stupid cell phone for your damn voice chat.
Part of this story, though, there was, and you can take it or leave it, but there was a growing discourse about these 4 games. The fact that in the announcements, both on social media and stuff, that it was kind of devoid of the Xbox symbol on both their splash pictures, artwork. Some people said you don't know it's an Xbox game unless you actually have the game and you start it up. So there was a fight over what the final box art will look like, because will it have the limited run logo or will it have the Xbox Game Studios logo?
Well, it's going to have the Microsoft Studio.
It's a lost opportunity if they don't. Just like PlayStation, if they don't put their symbol on there, because when you buy MLB The Show, there's a PlayStation Studios right there, right in the middle.
I guarantee it's going to have the Microsoft Studios listed on there. At most, you'll have where it might have a Super Rare Games where it'll say it on the end. You might have that for limited run or some of those, but it's still going to say Microsoft, because even the games, I think if I go back and look on, I think Ori and those, they still list Microsoft. I know Minecraft does. So I don't see why it wouldn't be on there. It might not be on the spine because that's what Microsoft or the
I hope it's somewhere, because I'm on this side, not going too far in the social construct known as the console wars, but I'm on the side where it's a missed opportunity for you to at least put some branding on it to say, like, I did this. I allowed these games to be put on here.
Well, I mean, the fact that you're going to have to use an Xbox account for the crossplay and stuff like that kind of also pushes that in there.
It's going to have you log in through the web browser like it does with the Ubisoft stuff.
Pentiment and Hi-Fi Rush, no, you won't need to log into anything.
No.
So it's like, I want my Xbox Game Studios to remind me. Pentiment, though, when you do start it up, has a giant Xbox symbol in the beginning. Yeah. So at least there's that.
Like I said, they might be a little... Because PlayStation, they do have their symbol, but on the case itself, I don't think they have it when it boots. Well, I don't know. I haven't played the...
When it boots it, because I keep playing the betas for MLB The Show on my Switch because I like torture. And it does that thing in the beginning where it etches in PlayStation Studios as part of the intro. So you're playing a PlayStation game that they allowed on your Nintendo system.
Yeah. I'm pretty sure Microsoft's still going to have their thing on there. They'll have the Microsoft Game Studios logo startup like they usually do. They might not have the direct, like the actual Xbox logo, just because that is part of the thing. They don't even normally have that in their own games. That's the system boot up thing.
Like Pentiment was just one of those that was actually called Xbox Game Studios, while Hi-Fi Rush was Tango Gameworks and Bethesda. So I can understand how some of them changed.
Yeah. I don't think they're going to lose that opportunity, so we'll see. All right. We'll move on then to our last little bit for the big question here. All right. So real quick, with this Partner Direct, the Nintendo specific titles that we know are coming out and upcoming Pokémon Direct, which we'll talk about next week, do we feel comfortable in the fact that we could be seeing the Switch being sold as their main focus for another year or even 2 years at a minimum before we see the actual release of new hardware? Because Nintendo, with recent sales numbers, they increased the amount they expected to sell and have already almost hit that as it is. And they're still rolling strong with this 7-year-old hardware. What do you guys think on that? Rachel, you want to go first?
I can see it going for at least another year. Given that, Sony has said they're kind of working on the next thing. Xbox has also said they're kind of working on the next thing, but they haven't really given a concrete timeline or even a marginal timeline. So I'd say it's pretty smart on Nintendo's part to kind of milk it out a little bit, until they get a little more solid on what the other companies are doing, because they don't necessarily want to follow, but they might not necessarily want to lead either. So they're just trying to get a better idea of what's coming next for, their competitors in a way. But also we're kind of in an interesting state with, games we never thought would come to other consoles coming to other consoles, where in a way the people have won the social construct that is the console wars. So I can see it, like I said, I can see it going for like a year. They've got a lot going on. I don't think they're going to want to announce something too early. And even if they do make some kind of announcement, it could be a ways off until it actually comes out.
All right. Steven, what about you?
I think this partner showcase kind of cemented it for me that they showed these off because they are basically saying, hey, these are the third parties or our partners that are going to fill in until June, because I believe that we're going to get Luigi HD in October. We're going to get Paper Mario in November to give us a strong holiday. I say us. Yeah, branding. But I think that's how they're going to put it in all together, because I think towards June or their Indie Direct and their other stuff that they supposedly have planned is kind of going to flesh out the rest of this year. And at that point, when it's getting to the end of the year, if the rumor that the unannounced thing is delayed, I think Tokyo Game Show is going to be very, 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 very important, because that's probably going to show off, if not a reveal, it's going to have people saying, yeah, we're working on this for that system, so people will know. And you got to be very careful with these type of things, because it can be one of those, well, if the better version's coming out on this, then I'm not going to get this system. But, I know Nintendo doesn't usually do price drops unless something isn't doing very well, but I think they are watching the other two who have already said they've had pretty bad years right now in terms of hardware sales.
Yeah.
Because all the shortages have caught up to them in a bad way. So I think now they're watching both of them, because if Microsoft's saying, "Hey, we're going to give you new hardware in December," which could be a portable, could be a digital only, whatever, and PlayStation's just like, "We're going to get you a PS5 Pro that might be bundled with Grand Theft Auto 6 and all that stuff," I think they're saying like, "Okay, when are you guys doing that? Because I know that's when people will start like uploading, offboarding their older systems." So they have this year covered for sure, but next year's an enigma of what they're going to do.
All right. Chris, what about you?
I can definitely see it happening that way. I mean, they've been riding this train for this long. Why stop now? And, essentially the fact that they have proven without a shadow of a doubt, aside from a couple of games like Grounded and Kingdom Come, the Switch can basically run on minimal graphics with better gameplay. And it's showing a lot of the larger companies that you don't necessarily need power in order to succeed. The
Yep.
PS5, for all its bluster, has had a minimal amount of first party games. Xbox has been sticking with PC and Game Pass as well as console. So Nintendo has been the traditionalist of the group and has been succeeding in no small measure. So I think they're going to at least ride that out for the rest of the year.
Okay. So I also think that we're going to have the Switch be the focus for at least the next year, because they want that PS2 record. They're so close to it, and they just want to be the satisfaction of saying they are the highest selling console in history, not just Japan, but worldwide. And that's what they're going for. But you mentioned, Stephen, earlier, the shortages that affected the Series X and the PS5. Nintendo, everyone mocked them for using older hardware, seemed almost immune to that. They had no problem getting Switches out during COVID and during all these things, which is why Animal Crossing basically took over the damn world for a while.
Mm-hmm. I'm probably one of the few people that was just like, over it.
Yeah, but I mean, I played the hell out of that thing. Like, we enjoyed it. But because of their reliance on older hardware doing new things with it, they're kind of more immune from that whole hiccup that other people are being hit with. So I think that'll be a good one. And they keep, every time everyone wonders like, oh, well, they don't have anything to announce. They don't have any games coming out. We don't know what they're going to have. They get one direct and you're going, oh my God, how am I going to play all these? Like, there's so many games coming out, and that's one direct. We've got a whole Pokemon one coming out, which I'm not expecting a new big game from that. But
the rumor is Gold and Silver on NSO.
Yeah, that makes sense. But then we haven't gotten a normal actual direct yet, which I don't know. I think sometime soon we're gonna hear about the new hardware, because Nintendo's still got the momentum. Like, I watched a family today. I was up at the local GameStop picking up stuff. George says hi, by the way, Rachel.
Oh, next time you see him, tell him hello and that I love him.
I will.
He was like a brother to me when I worked at GameStop. So all of the guys were, including his little brother.
But I watched a family get a Nintendo Switch. Like, it was new to them. They didn't really know much about it. And, the dad was all getting excited. Oh, you can play the older games. And, the kids were looking at stuff. And I'm like, we can't take it for granted that everyone's like us, always up to date on these things for technology. We're 7 years in and the Switch is a new thing to them somehow. I still don't know how they wouldn't know about it too much, but whatever. They bought it. They were excited. They're going to play it. And there are others that are still doing that. So they're not in a rush. And I think price wise, if they do release a new Switch, for those of us that want new hardware, if they just tank the price on the old Switch, they could keep that momentum going without cannibalizing it too much. And I don't think we're going to get the new system until at the earliest early next year.
I would like it in March of next year. That would be my birthday month. So please.
There you go. And then, yeah, I think middle of this year, if not maybe sooner, I would not be surprised if the next big direct actually showed the new hardware. I think we're that close to that.
I don't
think we're gonna get it yet.
Reveal. They should definitely not do a reveal like they did a Switch, where they're like, "Here's the Switch. It's coming out in a month," because that was madness.
That was madness. I do like the trailer they released, though. That trailer is still iconic to me.
Yeah, great marketing, honestly. The 1-2 switch with the snapping and all of that kind of stuff, and all of that. It reminded me of we would like to play.
Yes,
and I was like that is just so good. And then it's like, it's coming out on this date, and I'm like,
we should go. I want to do an extra quarter, and I'm just saying this now so I can remember to go back to all the unveilings of different hardware and talk about like how successful or how right or wrong it was.
Yeah, they have no clip has those in No clip has those in HD now.
I know that's what's great about it, because that is actually a really cool thing to see, because like all that stuff they showed for the Switch, how much of it actually came out.
The despair of the Xbox One reveal.
Oh God, yeah, that's a whole different beast.
So
go ahead, Steven.
So as my final thought for this, I want to let people know, when it comes to games that are being developed and that just, I don't know, capture your interest. It was reported a few days ago that Arrowhead built Helldivers 2 using the Autodesk Stingray engine, once called BitSquid, which is actually the same engine that was used to create the original isometric top-down Helldivers game that first launched on PS3, PS4, and Vita in 2015. So here we are 8 years later, and they're like, this engine's still working for us.
That's insane.
Awesome.
I mean, like I said, everyone has this back and forth of the whole console thing. Like, I am super happy that this game is this successful, because it has been so much fun to play. I'm excited to play it again tonight after the show with you, because I've got to play it in a week. So, all right. I think that's a pretty good time to wrap this up. If you need to find us, look underneath the video down in the comments section, or in I guess the About Us section, or in the file for the sound. The MP3 version has all of our contact information. You can also find that over at zenspath.com. If you're listening to the audio version of this and you'd like to watch the video one, check us out at youtube.com/zenspathcom. And then if you're watching the video and you would like to listen to it, feel free to look on any of your podcast apps, Apple Podcasts, Spotify, so forth, and look for the Zenspath Entertainment Network, and you can find us there. Leave us a review. We would love to, hear comments about what you're enjoying, what you're not enjoying. Leave us comments and likes and so forth, whatever, on the YouTube videos. Pretty much any feedback we like. So, all right, it's been episode 119 of the Zenspath Entertainment Network, and we're out. Peace.
Play Endless Ocean. Everblue.
Yes, I much prefer water over ice right now. Snow can go to hell.